systems are offline.
Hello, Facebook world. We're back once again. And we have, of course, joined with us today the wonderful of mine. I've been working with him for quite some time. We can go way, way back to the times we were doing gigs in Goleen for fundraisers for the community hall. That's how far we go back. Before he was even a politician, before he was asking you to give him his number one, we were still rallying the troops way back then. So we finally have him working. Hopefully, if I press this button now, everything is going to come together. Fingers crossed. And let's just check this out. Let's see if this happens. Michael, can you hear me, sir?
I can, Terence, and good evening to yourself and to all your listeners this evening. We're sorry about the delay, but that's the beautiful side of broadband in West Cork.
We'll get into that. We can get into that one. How's life? How's COVID been treating you? Has it been good? Has it been okay?
You know, it's been difficult. It's been difficult, I suppose, for so many people. I suppose, number one, we've all tried our level best in West Cork to make sure that we don't pick up the disease as such, and it's a bit more difficult maybe for myself. It might be for others too, but I have to do a lot of travelling up and down. So I've decided, not to stay in Dublin, to come up and down maybe 3 times a week, which means a lot of extra travelling, and be very strict when I'm there in the Dáil, that I'm not, just simply going from my office in the Dáil to the Dáil chambers and back straight to the office again, and not to be hanging around at all or staying any lengthy period of time in other people's company. But overall, look, it's given us a lot of time to reflect. It's given me a lot of time to look at all the bills in my life that I've been paying that I hadn't time to deal with, and to sort out maybe time to pay them, yes, but time to look at them. Maybe I could cut them a small bit and do a bit of cutting and shaving. I've been doing a bit of that anyway, and other than that, I wish that never hit us. But we are where we are.
We are where we are. Sadly, we couldn't face not getting it, I suppose. There could have been other things we could have done, but hey, look, we're the other side of it now, thank God, and hopefully we'll keep on getting stronger and better and moving forward as best we can and get the whole country operating again.
Absolutely, Terence, and we are very lucky here in West Cork, and I know that there's a strong possibility there's going to be a second surge, and I think that if it happens, I think the government will have to close region by region or area by area. We cannot be put in the same pot as what's happening in Dublin, and unfortunately that's what we were the last time. I can respect there was a lot of difficulty. You can respect us thrown on any government or any politician, and I'm not trying to be critical at any one politician, but the whole thing was really what happened in Dublin dictated what happened in Ireland. And I think that's where the wrongdoings were done. I think they found that out throughout the world. They're breaking it down region by region now. And if there's no breaking in, if there's no outbreak in West Cork, well, that should be good enough to say that West Cork at least stays open under very strict guidelines, of course. And hopefully that's what will happen if there's another outbreak. And it's quite possible. They're all saying September. I don't know why they're picking that month, but they're all picking September where there's a greater chance where there's a surge. But I do think, Terence, that we, as good and all as the government acted, I think there was other things they could have done. I think there's other things they can do, and I think they will do them. And that the most important thing was that we depend on tourism down here quite a lot, and I think that they should have looked at our airports and ports and put in same day testing and results. And you can do it, and it can be done in West Cork, believe it or not. At a cost of €49, you can get your results within 4 hours. And if we had done that in our airports and our ports, and I can assure you 99.9% of the people coming in would have paid for that test. That's
definitely.
Like I raised that with the Taoiseach, and he said, it's going to cost us 200. It cost us over 5 million to purchase a plane to fly them out to Germany and to get the tests carried out in Germany and brought back to Ireland, which most people had to wait a week or 2 weeks or whatever. But this could have been done in Bandon. And that's what you look, me as an opposition person in the Dáil, I raised these issues. I went and researched it. I went to the lab. I see they're doing it for private hospitals. They could have done it if they had an investment of 45,000 instead of we spending 5 million. They could have done 10,000 a week. We could have been testing at the airports, and people could have been certified. And anyone that didn't want to test in the airport, 14-day quarantine when they go home. And it would have started opening up rural areas in a safe manner. So you get certified basically, and you travel. I am certified COVID free, and that's where I wanted to go with this. And I still think it's going to be the only way they're going to have to go with this eventually, but they're trying to drag their heels.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I look, we can all go back to election time, and what was 130 days or something like that before we had a government. I don't think anybody really wanted to take the bull by the horns on any side of the border, to be fair. And I'm talking not border in Ireland or Northern Ireland, but either side of the Dáil. They never really wanted to take full hold of everything. They kind of just wanted to brush it under, and sort of, like, I think Leo Varadkar was kind of thinking to himself that he's not going to last much longer here. He was kind of on his last legs there, coming up in the last couple of weeks. He was like a man looking forward to his holidays. You know, you get that week before your holidays and you're dragging into every day, or a week from holidays and you're like, I've got 5 more days. You know, you could see it in him. There wasn't much of a fight left in the man, like, you know, but
I suppose they went through, and I to tell them, maybe I'm seen to be praising, but they had a difficult situation lofted on them basically. No, they handled it very well to a point. I think we were a bit slow off the mark. There was a Cheltenham situation. There was the Italian rugby fans coming in here when there was no match. That definitely brought in the virus with them. There was things like that could have been moved pretty quick, because people were fairly strong to me down here. They could see the dangers of this coming like a train, and we're standing at the track looking at it coming towards us. But when they did move, they moved quick and quick enough. But they still, like, there's areas that a huge amount of expenditure. I think there's 1.8 billion budget for the HSE have got for to tackle this in health, and a lot of it's gone to private hospitals, and a lot, that maybe didn't need to be spent. I can respect it. It's impossible to get it right, but I'm certainly think, for the sake of businesses starting up, and I can see so many hemorrhaging all over West Cork, for the sake of them starting up, they definitely should have concentrated on same-day testing, as they did in Austria, they did in Singapore, I think they did in other countries, and they're actually looking at it in other European countries, that they've done that testing in the airports. And you see, the thing is, I don't want anybody down in West Cork here to be scared, because people might be coming in and holidaying here because they could have caught the COVID-19 virus. But if they're tested, at least you're nearly 80 to 90% sure they don't, and that's great ease of mind, because none of us can be sure whether we have or haven't it.
Asymptomatic there, and you could be spreading it like wildfire and not even know that you're doing it. You know what I mean? It's a weird virus. It's a weird disease. It's whatever you want to call it. It's a weird thing that you could be good and healthy, still have it, like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw somebody that came into Belfast during the week, a couple, and they came down to Sligo, and they met and greeted their family and had dinner with them or whatever last week, and they ended up 14 members of that family ended up getting it, because they had it, and they didn't think they had it, but only one felt they had a symptom, and the whole families were tested, but they obviously brought in with them. So there's a lot of worry out there, genuine worry, but we certainly could be allaying a lot of that worry by making sure that people are tested and are COVID free, and let them holiday freely then in the community, and careful, of course, and careful. And I see that the restaurants here in West Cork are doing that. The shops, the chemists, and the grocery shops, everybody's trying their best to make sure their customers are safe, and people are trying to get out there too to support the local community. And maybe they're making a fabulous effort, in fairness to them.
I think that's one of the positives that's come from this whole thing, is the fact that local people are getting behind local businesses. You can definitely see a push in local shops and small businesses getting a push by the local people. And I think it's really, like, you know what they say, the best of times, the worst of times, we all come together. And I think that's definitely been proven now that people are starting to look at local businesses, and they're trying to get behind businesses. They see how important small businesses are now to the economy. Although people thought of it before, but I think now during COVID, there's a little bit more emphasis on the fact that we need to keep small businesses going. We need to get these are the backbone to our economy, and we need to keep these going.
Absolutely, Terence. And if a restaurant closes locally, and we just take a restaurant, and I think they're under incredible pressure, and the cafes are, because of the small numbers coming. You could be talking about 20 jobs gone. In a smaller village, you could be talking about 12 or 14 jobs, and they might have been part-time, but they were vital to the family home to bring a little bit of an income. And
something for teenagers to do on a Saturday, a bit of pocket money for them, washing dishes or something, and
put a few
keeps
quid
the
in
pressure off parents.
And it helped to fund the college going a few months later back in college. They had the money that they had saved up during the summer. So, like, it's a very difficult time, and there's going to be a spill out from this for a long time to come. But look, let's hope we can all work together and swing it around. But this has been a difficult time for people, and you can tell you. And another thing is, I'm very annoyed about is that the local doctor and the local nurse cannot carry out a swab test. It's just if you want to go somewhere in the morning and you're not allowed into their country, and that's happening in some people, the Middle East, and they will not allow you in, and you might have to work, and you need to be swabbed basically, and I can get the results carried out for 49 quid, but I can't get anybody swabbed.
Yeah.
So the local doctor, he can take every test, no matter what illness you have, he can take every test you want. You go down to the local doctor, the local nurse, sorry, we can't do that. There's nobody special to it, because they eventually will be trained.
Yeah. And to be fair, it's a swab to the back of the throat. Like you would imagine most doctors would be able to take a swab to the back of the throat. Do you know what I mean? I'm not being funny. I think if I was shown once or twice, a monkey like myself would be able to do it anyway. Do you know? And never mind these people with medical professions and educations behind them. Like this is simple ABC stuff for them. But it's Ireland, sadly we have to go. It's Ireland every now and again, and we have to just sort of scratch our shoulders and go, look, we just do the best of what we can. But anyway, we're going to get into it. We're going to take you all the way back. With a name like Michael Collins, you were always destined for politics, weren't you, really? Let's be honest. A leader's name like that. How did you get into it? How did you get stuck in it?
Well, to be honest with you, I was more focused on community. I'd say my mother is to blame when it comes to community. She had a great belief in community voluntary organisations. She was involved in them herself, and then I kind of got into that. And when she had passed away at a young age, I felt, sometimes you could have sat down at home and dwelled in a bit of pity. But I decided I'd do something that she used to do, and it grew from that to the point that I had maybe 25, 30 groups I was involved in. It was just every evening, as soon as I'd finish work, I'd be straight out to a meeting. Anyway, I loved it, and it grew from that. And to be honest with you, we were challenging the politicians quite a lot to come up with the goods. As it isn't always that a politician can deliver, but it's very important that a politician is with the people. And we found more often than that, and that's what grew me into frustration, is that more often than not, we were, especially when the country went from boom to bust, there was a lot of issues that needed to be resolved, and we held a lot of public meetings, and we invited politicians. They never turned up. And and at that I was frustrated, and we were annoyed, and we used to do radio interviews or whatever about that. But then one politician got angry one day, and he said, why don't you run and see how far you get? And I said, you know what, maybe you're dead right, I will. And that's where it all started. So he's after retiring from politics. I'm not going to mention his name, but I thanked him very much when I got elected the first day, and I did say to him, my dear man, I said, watch it, the Dáil is coming and I'm after you.
There's nothing like that to drive on a man, is there?
Oh, he put the bit of fire in the belly, and that's all I needed. And off I went in. But it was, it's difficult today because I still stay involved in a lot of community volunteer organisations, and there's when I go to meetings, there's a different feel about me being there, which I don't like. I'd rather
he's one of them, lads. We better keep it quiet. He's one of them.
He's loaded, and he's this, and he's that, and he's the other. But I'm not. I'm still Michael Collins. I'm still in the community council in Goleen, where you looked after us with your DJing for many, many years in our festival and our different community voluntary events. And I love being involved in the community council. I love being involved in the local community alerts, and to find out, because it kind of gets you a feel as to what's gone wrong or what's right in the community and what needs to be put right if it's wrong. And you can take that, I think, to Florida Dáil, and so far I kind of succeeded in my view. I succeeded in doing.
Oh yeah, no, the no can be doubted. But an ear to the community is fantastic, and if you can keep your ear to the community, you know what's going on. A politician that doesn't keep his ear to the community is not a politician. He's just a man being paid, and he won't do his job. It's like you're hired by the people to do the people's job, in my mind. And in fairness to you, even up as far as last year, you were out shepherding kids in their fancy dress across the road for the Goleen Festival, and you were directing traffic. I can't see many other politicians being out doing that now, to be fair.
And we would have been doing it again this year. Only the festival was like every other thing. It's after being pulled because of COVID, but we'll be back again next year in the Goleen Community Council. We have one of the best festivals with you there, and oh my God, there's so many top names that we have, bands that we trying to fundraise for during the year. But no, in fairness, I like the community voluntary effort. That community council is an incredible community council. We built a community centre worth, I'd say, in excess of €1 million in the back ass of nowhere. Sorry about the language, but in beautiful Goleen. But it's a rural peninsula. It's amazing what we achieved there. But at the same time, we have a lovely centre there now. People have Meals on Wheels cooperating with Skull, and we have 6-day service of Meals on Wheels all there in the community. And we have a centre there, a beautiful playing pitch for soccer, for GA, for every sport, and a centre inside with a fabulous basketball court. So if you ever stuck in over to come west east, where you're west east, north or south, we'll cater for you.
I was there actually opening it, which is all the way back. Was it 4 or 5 years? Well, it has to be longer than that now.
Oh, it was longer than that.
Jesus, longer than that now. Christ, yeah, we're getting old. Things are going fast, Michael. Things are going too fast for us. I still remember we're doing fundraisers in the Black Sheep for a fancy dress. What, 10, 11 years ago, maybe? We go back far. That far.
That's a long time ago.
We go way back, but we're here to talk about politics and everything. That bus, how many people did you manage to fix on that magical bus all the way to the north? You were at, was it 1,500 nearly at one stage?
Yeah, 1,500, but we had over 50 buses, and then we got a lot of people went one-to-one. Like, even I was talking to someone yesterday from Dublin that needed a cataract operation, so it just didn't end up being Castletownbere, Bantry, Skibbereen, Skull. It just I took calls from everywhere that needed a cataract, and it was an indictment of the government of the day too, that they didn't resolve that. It was a very simplified operation. It wasn't open heart surgery, the most difficult one in the world. It was actually 1 hour procedure, and it could have been done here in Bantry, and unfortunately Bantry Hospital, and it didn't. And no matter how many times I raised it in the Dáil, it didn't. But look, we found out about the cross-border directive, and it's worked very well for people of Bantry and people of Skibbereen, Skull, everywhere, and Bandon and we east further in Shannon. But basically they pay up front for their operation, and they get the money back in 3 months, and that's a great scheme. We organise the bus, we organise the overnight stay, we pick them up, we take them to Cork, and they go from there to Belfast, and then we usually have someone to mind them if we can, and we'd always ask them to take somebody with them. They stay overnight, they have the consultation night the day before, stay overnight, they probably have a few drinks that night, of course, above inside the Europa Hotel in Belfast, as they would, and then the next morning they're in for their operation down home, all done within 2 to 3 weeks, instead of waiting here and waiting for surgery and it not happening. So we were lucky to stumble across that. Do you know where I stumbled across that, Terence? Was above at the ploughing championship. It was
of all places.
Of all places, and I was walking around with a fine cap in my head because with and they sort of said to me, "Would you like to hear about the cross-border directive in Kingsbridge Private Hospital?" I say, "Yeah, absolutely, fire away." But I say, and all of a sudden he was telling me, I say, "Hang on a minute now. So if you're €1 million in your account, you're still going to get an operation you pay for, and you get your money back, whether it is a cataract, it is a hip, it is a knee, whatever." He said, "Absolutely." I said, "Okay, I need to talk to you next week." He said, "Where?" "In the Dáil." Where's it all? I explained where it was. And the next thing, it kind of went from that. And myself and Danny Healy-Ray, definitely Danny Healy-Ray, we worked together. So we split the bus. If there's 16 going, there'd be 8 from Kerry, 8 from West Cork, or whatever. And it made a success. The first bus we put on free. Everybody else gets charged €50 just to pay for the bus fee going up, and then they pay themselves the hotel, and they pay for their operation. But they get their money back. They won't get the money back for the bus, or they won't get the money back for the hotel, but they get it back for the operation, the consultation, and that means a lot.
That does. That helps a lot of people out, especially when you're talking most of these will be fairly elderly and they'll be using a good shot of their pensions or any small income that they're getting, they'll be using that. But it's a fantastic idea to actually be able to get it back for them and to be getting up and getting down in the space of, like you said, 3 weeks, rather than, Jesus, you could be waiting 3-4 months just for a consultation, never mind the operation to be done.
I have to say
this country,
and I have to say one thing in fairness, in terms of give credit where credit is due, and I nearly forgot it, the credit union. My God, the credit union. Have they not responded in style to this? And they know it's a government guaranteed scheme. So they will give the money for the cataract. They will give the money for the hip and the knee, and because they've guaranteed they will get their money back from the state. And they've acted as a kind of bridging of funding, basically. Some people mightn't have like €10,000 you're talking for the hip. It's a lot. It's a huge amount of money. And they go in and they get their loan from the credit union. 3 months later, they walk back and hand back their money, and their hip is perfect, their knee is perfect, their cataract is sorted. It's about $2,000 for the cataract, and it sounds a lot of money for a lot of people. It is difficult to find that because they might have families and they're trying to pay whatever, and it gets results. So the credit union have been a super boost to this scheme since it started as well.
Yeah, do you know what? And again, small communities, small backbones, small little parts of this beautiful country we live in, and helping so many people that, do you know, the M50 politics of the lads up in Dublin, they seem to forget where we'd be without these credit unions and these community centres and stuff like that. You know, we're forgotten about all the way down here in West Cork.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. And, I suppose that's what I've been trying to raise. Look, I've been in opposition TD for 4 years. I'm now going back into opposition again for what it looks like another 4.5, 5 years. And I have to accept that. I mean, look, I really strong opposition. There's no doubt about that. But I would like maybe at times to be in government to try and maybe see can we deliver more. But in saying that, it's no point in having all the politicians in government and nobody in opposition, because you do need a strong opposition at all. And,
Oh,
into
someone needs
that.
to answer.
Absolutely. And, I wasn't, 4 years ago, I was very much involved in the programme for government. I chose at that time, I just didn't believe that they were going to deliver rural Ireland. I think I was proving that in the 4 years since. This time, I wasn't involved in the programme for government. I met with Fianna Fáil, the Greens, Fine Gael on twice. They didn't give us, and Sinn Féin at an early stage on their own, they didn't give me that impression that they were over genuine. I could be wrong. But they were telling us they wanted to meet us, and then they weren't looking to meet us at all. And then they wanted to meet us, they didn't want to meet us at all. So in the end, they put a programme for government together. And to be quite honest with you, I've looked through the 125 pages, and there it is, right here, the 125 pages. And the one thing I said, I promised the people of Bantry at the 500 strong meeting about Bantry Hospital was that if I was, they asked me, if you were to enter into government, will you promise not to enter into government till you get a guarantee the Bantry General Hospital will be safeguarded? And I couldn't get that guarantee in the programme of government. I wasn't involved in it, but I gave credit to the Greens and to the Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, who did get their hospitals in Sligo into it, who did get their hospitals in Waterford into it, in the programme for government. That's our gospel for the next 5 years. And Bantry
Mm.
Hospital, not one word in Bantry Hospital is inside in that document. And well, it gave me no choice in the matter. And I will admit, Micheál Martin rang me last Friday, asked me would I support him in the vote the following day, and I said, Micheál, no. I looked at the programme for government, and you're not delivering, and you're not going to deliver to rural Ireland, you're not going to deliver to West Cork, and I could not see Bantry Hospital any part of that programme for government, and I was adamant I couldn't. If I did, I was telling the 500 people basically lie to their face, and I wasn't prepared to do that. And that's my decision is made, whether it was right or wrong. Maybe some would say, why didn't you go in? You could fight for it. I'll certainly fight for it across the floor in the Dáil, and they're here every day of the week. And if they'll drop any minute piece of services for Bantry Hospital, I won't be with telling them. And I'm looking at it because they promised an endoscopy unit in 2018, and Simon Harris was below here in Bantry, and he was going around like the king, and a few more of them like kings and queens around him. There's no delivery. The endoscopy unit is not here. He promised a delivery that day. So I'm sick of announcements. We want delivery. There's 125 pages of a programme for government there, and it's not delivering so far. Anyway, we'll see where it goes this time.
Do you know what? It's a very it's hard to do with Banshee Hospital because it's such a catchment area for that. It is basically West Cork's hospital. Let's be fair. We have smaller branch hospitals in Castletownbere and Skull and Dunmanway and places like that, but it is the main actual hospital for West Cork, and it really, really needs to get the credit it deserves because there's people giving their absolute lives up there, giving standard of care services to beat the band, and they will help you in any way they can. They really, really need to be given the recognition that they deserve, and they need to get the funding that they deserve, and places don't need to be shut down anymore. Not in rural Ireland. Rural Ireland is getting bigger and bigger every day, and the places go on.
Sorry. No, you're fine. I tell you, you're spot on there. It's serving the population of over 80,000 Bantry General Hospitals, and parts of Kerry. And then the Healy Rays and far behind me sometimes when I'm talking about Bantry Hospital, they're jumping up on their feet too because their constituents are coming down here to Bantry General Hospital. I'm very glad to do so. And believe it or not, when I was canvassing, and it had risen very much to the forefront because there was no COVID at the time, and I didn't raise it. I wasn't the first who brought that up here. It was the doctors who brought this up here, the concerns and the serious fears of the future of the A&E in Bantry Hospital. But when I was canvassing on one Sunday in Bandon, when that was going on, the amount of people that came to the door, what are you going to do about Banshee Hospital? In Bandon. I went in there. I wouldn't go up to Cork, which was the last place I wanted to go. I went down to Banshee, got seen after within minutes. People are saying minutes. So there's an absolute and I'm worried, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'll be proven wrong. And if I am, I'm delighted. I'll be the first to jump up and down here if I'm proven wrong. But my worry is that, and it was proven recently when a lady in Bantry who broke her pelvis, and her family rang at 10 o'clock in the morning to be taken into Bantry Hospital, rang the ambulance. They said, you won't be taken there, you'll be taken to CUH. And they insisted, and in the end, the only way to get her into Bantry Hospital, lift her into their own car and bring her down. With a broken pelvis, and a woman in her late 80s, to think that that's the way, but that's the mindset that's there. It's to shut Bantry Hospital, and the way you'll shut it is shut at the back door if you don't do the front door. And that is, the ambulance service will bypass it on the way. And that's the plan. But we need to fight that plan tooth and nail. My worry is the fact it's not in the programme for government. It's not on the agenda. I mentioned it to Micheál Martin. I mentioned it to Leo Varadkar more than once. Anytime I was around the table, I said, lads, the one way, if you want me on board, is a cast iron guarantee in writing. The Bantry General Hospital will be upgraded and saved. And I didn't get that. And this is the situation. I'm not going to give up from the opposition benches. Others may have to deliver that are in government, but I certainly couldn't go back on my word. 500 people is a lot of people you give your word to, and when I don't see it down in the programme of government, I'm not one bit happy today. But you are right. We are lucky though. We have St. Joseph's and Bantry too for the elderly. We have the Castleton-Bear Hospital, the Skull Hospital, Dunmanway, Skibbereen, Clonakilty, and then Kinsale community hospitals, and they are delivering excellent service. And my own, closest to my own heart is Skull. It's probably, and anyone that sees it and knows it, it's the number one hospital in Ireland, community hospital wise. So I have to give credit where credit is due. There was money spent on some hospitals. Skull was the first in Ireland. It got this 80% single bed occupancy, which no other hospital seems to be able to comply with now. And they got some of the rooms are 5-star. I feel like going there myself, for the love of God. But Bantry General Hospital is the hospital that we need to have our emergencies dealt with. We cannot afford to have our people collapsing, getting weaknesses in places like Bantry, Skibbereen, Goleen, Castleton-Bear, and having to be trafficked up to Cork. It's not going to work, and it's going to lead to a massive loss of life.
Huge. And like, even if you take a simple one, if God forbid a woman went into labour between sort of Castleton-Bear, Erne, Allihies, that type of direction, by the time she gets to Cork Hospital, it's 2 hours. You know, they'd be best off going to Kerry over the border. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And sure, what's the point of having Banshee Hospital and the fine facility that it is there if we're not even going to get ambulances to be delivering to it? And like, there has to be ethical reasons that can't be happening. Like, you can't turn around. That poor woman had to be carried into the back of her car. Like, a woman that's lived her whole life, probably worked, loved, raised her family, everything. She had all her dignity taken away from her as she was carried into the car because an ambulance wouldn't take her to Bantry Hospital. It's a disgrace. Like, there has to be ethical reasons there why they can't be doing that. Like,
I think first of all, the main problem we've had in this country is we've continued to blow money, especially when it comes to health. We've blown money left, right, and centre. Someone out there seems to have a blank check, and they can spend it wherever it is. We saw what happened with the Children's Hospital. Everybody knows there needs to be a Children's Hospital. It was one of the first things I got involved in when I went up to the Dáil. We held a motion that they would not go ahead with the Children's Hospital. We lost because Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, and Sinn Féin all joined together, and they all voted our motion out the window. Our motion was correct. We said he'd go massively over budget. There's no, I don't know how many minutes gone over budget. I can't even pronounce the words. It'll never land a helicopter, and it'll become a traffic chaotic spot. And all three is going to happen there. And the Children's Hospital is going to go ahead now by hook or by crook. Doesn't matter how many billion or how many million goes out there. It's like monopoly money with him. Instead, they should have been investing and looking at the home health service, where we could have kept people at home, proper home care service. Where's the best place to mind somebody is at home? And pump in the extra money and give it to the great home health women mainly, and men that are out there that are calling to people every day and every night, and to get very little thanks or praise for it, and looking after them, get a little bit of shopping, and doing a lot more behind the scenes that they're never seen. And that's where we should have been investing money, is keep people at home, keep it. Instead, we invested in slide backs clapping projects that someone, not in wing projects, maybe some people might like what I have to say, but I shoot from the hip a bit. But you had situations, in this country too, and you've seen it with COVID. Who's been the backbone of this? Our doctors, our nurses. Where were our nurses less than 12 months ago? Standing out in the streets, soaked wet, striking for a little bit of extra pay. And no minister, no government gave a damn about them. And then they were crying at us that, that they were the greatest people there. We knew they were the greatest people, but the government didn't care. And unfortunately, look, we have a situation where people were forced to leave their homes because they couldn't get a home health service, and they had to end up inside a bed, in a hospital bed, and many of them didn't need to be there if they were cared for at home with a proper bit of investment on a home care package. But look, we are where we are. And then COVID struck. We have a situation where some hospitals are not up to standard. Some minister signed a statutory instrument in 2016 when the hospitals were meant to be brought up standard. He pushed it out to 2021. Some of these hospitals now won't be finished in 2021. And what's happening is you have congregated settings. So you have a lot of people in some rooms, which is very unfair. And if COVID, and if that COVID hits a room like that, it can
wipe
spread,
out
and
the
it can be
ward.
very.
Like, yeah, could wipe out the wards that people are immune compromised and stuff like that. These are the people that are sick, and they're not given much of a chance then, especially if they get hit with COVID or any pneumonia or even the winter vomiting bug, something. Do you know what I mean? Anything like that can wipe out these wards. And I don't know, man. Do you know what? This is in my mind, this is the greatest country in the world. We've got the best people in the world, and sadly, our country doesn't want to mind our people. Our best import, our best export is going to be our kids very, very soon. And I can see it. Like, I've got 3 kids. I've got a kid 7, 8, and 15 months, and I don't see a future for them in this country. I genuinely don't see a future. Never mind the 20-year-olds that are coming up, doing their leaving cert now. They might as well head away for 20 years and come back. Do you know, every Irish people do so well in every other country in the world when they go out and they go working. But yet in this country, they just seem to find it tough. And we want to build our country. We're proud Irish people. We want to invest in our country. We want to spend our money in our country. But yet we go build the rest of the world. The Irish man built the rest of the world. And we're struggling to build Ireland still.
We are. And the one problem we have now is that the Irish young person that's growing up will have to stay in Ireland, because the economy all over the world due to COVID is virtually collapsed. And our the truly young, the good young people here that don't see a future here. The problem is there isn't much of a future out abroad either in other countries at this present time. So it's a difficult time for young people, and it's a difficult trap that they're caught in, because we had other recessions before. They jumped on and they head out to Australia, they head out to New Zealand, they head out to America, and maybe UK or whatever, and Germany and places. They found their way there, but now there's recessions everywhere, and it's difficult. So it's going to be a difficult time. Turns for our young people to find a way out of this one. But look, the one good thing is that there's a great community, great unity, and great, fight in the Irish. We are the fighting Irish. We were called before, but I'd say, I still, hold out hope there. But I think our politicians, and be interested to see how this new Dáil is going to work. Are they going to focus in on the rural communities where there is opportunities? Are we going to have a situation like I was a bit disappointed last week when I heard announcements of different ministries. There was opportunities, and I should say that I didn't meet with Michal or Leo or Eamon. I met him twice, I think, and maybe we had maybe 2.5 meetings, 3 hours in total. When I got my chance to speak, I spoke of the vision that I felt was good for rural, and I felt that we should have had a standalone minister for fisheries. It is an absolute disgrace, the resource we have out in our waters, and they're refusing to acknowledge it. I think it's just the bargaining chip of Irish politics. If we got to give anything, give the fishing rights away. One thing I was very disappointed is that we should, because of COVID, had a standalone minister for tourism. I do respect you cannot have ministers here and ministers there, ministers everywhere, but these two, the fisheries and tourism and agriculture, would have been on its own as well. Would have been a massive boost to the rural communities, but there is no heat. Just tourism is thrown in there with a whole platter of other things. Fishing is not even. Look, to be honest with you, it was appalling what went on in fishing and the program. Even the minister for the Gaeltacht and the Islands now has been split. The Gaeltacht and the Islands kind of went hand in hand. Cape Clear, you name a number of islands. That's split now too for some reason. And I think there's pandering too much to the green agenda. There's a green agenda, and there's a lot of green in every one of us, but not over pandering to a green agenda. And another thing I'm disappointed with, Terence, is if you look at the ministries, there's 4 from Meath, 3 from Longford, 11 from Dublin. You have 3 from Carrigaline, all right, but you have no one from Cork North, Cork East, or Cork Southwest. No senior ministry and no junior ministry. And that tells you the focus is back up in Dublin with 11 ministers. And it's back. That's where the focus has been for the last 10 years. And I sincerely hope that's not where it's going to be for the next 5, but I'll certainly be doing my part to make sure it don't. But all the signs are bad at the moment, and we'll see.
With that program for government, it's we've ministers for health that are slating the nurses 2-3 years ago, saying they're getting enough, and now he's minister for health. Like, with the logic behind the program for government or the election of the ministers, like, Christ, you wouldn't ask a mechanic to build a house. Why aren't these ministers being given? Like, why not come with some experience behind it? Do you like? I can't. Honestly, it boggles my mind. It annoys me, for starters. I wouldn't turn around and say to someone, "I can be a brain surgeon in the morning. Give me a job." So why are we having Minister for Children that have no children? Why are we having a Minister for Health that's slating the nurses and stuff like that? Like we have a Minister for Transport that's green, that drives a 92 transporter that's an absolute bucket. And he's telling me that I have to go share my car that I've paid for, that I've worked my balls off with 40 people in my town because he couldn't be arsed to buy a decent car. If he was cycling a bike or even having a hybrid, I would say something. But I'm not even going to go down this road now because it could go very, very, very nasty very quickly. But like, merciful God, like, and you know what even galls me? I'm not even a Cork man, right? But the way Micheál Martin is comparing himself to Jack Lynch is an insult to the Cork people. That man would sell his mother to get into Taoiseach. And it was so wrong on every level. And he made the numbers work. I'm not going to argue with the fact that the man made the numbers work. That's just the way things go. But, come on, like, Jesus, how Irish can we get when it comes to this Dáil? You have to look at it. Not an ounce of experience between one of them. You know, like I had Helen O'Sullivan on this with the beef plan movement. I had Patrick Murphy with the fishing. These people are getting, the beef is still the same price in the 80s. Patrick Murphy with the fishing is the quotas is still back in the 80s. And like, we're in 2020. Does the government not realize that our two prime products that we have, our fish and our beef, we can't get anywhere else in this world? We are like, I was in America, and like I was saying when I was talking to Helen, and they were saying grass-fed beef was nearly more expensive than caviar. And we have it. I could throw a stone at a cow out the window here and it's being grass-fed, and we have no appreciation for it. It's the same with the fishing. Our Atlantic fish is second to none. My father's a fisherman, and everywhere in the world, you can go down to Australia and you'll see a Castletown Bear fish box down there. That's how far our fish travels. Do you understand what I mean? And we're selling it, and we're not. Do you know what? We're not even selling it. We're just giving it away at this stage, and it galls me.
I think that we're facing a very dangerous time in relation to fishing in this country, and I've seen this coming for the last 2.5 years. I've been asking the questions in the Dáil, and they genuinely, I've seen some ministers that I would have a bit more time for were trying to be slippery in their response. Brexit is coming. The British have made it very clear they want us out of their waters. They don't seem to be any solution. To me, if they do succeed, and it looks like the British are going to call their shots in their country, and that's what they've always done. If the British decide to kick us out of the waters, they're also kicking every European trawler out of their waters. And there's only one place that there's been a céad míle fault to every European trawler, and that's good old Ireland. Yeah. We've left them in with no rule and no regulation and pat in the back, and they have rights and we don't have any rights, and get the hell out and stop arguing about it, Collins, and move on. That's been the argument. We haven't fought for new quota. We haven't, I've been fighting for the bluefin tuna quota, and it would have been a massive boost to fishermen if they could get a quota like that. But there's other issues too, that fishing has been put on the back pedal and the back pedal and the back pedal. And I'm certainly pushed between Bantry Hospital and fishing. And I mean, I'm a farmer myself, so like farming should have been more to my heart. And I do realise where the suckler farmer, the crisis is in. I spend, I don't know how many weeks we spend over outside the factory nearly every day. I spend a few hours every day to try and give them a little bit of support. And the sad thing is this, and this will prove the kind of carry-on that goes on in this country. No minister would, and hardly very few politicians stood outside that gate with them protesters, outside the gates in Bandon. And there was no minister would come looking at him. But when the farmers went up outside Dublin and held the traffic up for 3 or 4 hours, the minister came out and talked to them then. There was no problem. We found them then. And they wanted me to negotiate, to tell them to stay back. And I said, to hell with it. It's a problem you've caused, and clean it up. And he had to come out and clean it up himself. But he wouldn't, they left him below, nearly starved and cold and wet outside the factory in Bandon. These are ordinary family farmers with families at home that they want to feed and they want to work. And these farmers want to work out of their crisis. They don't want anything soft, only to work out of their crisis. And they've been denied that opportunity, and they continue to be denied.
It's do you know what? I don't know. I don't know what would happen in any other country, to be perfectly honest with you. I look, like I said at the start, I think this is the best country in the world. We have never been given a fair start by the government in a very, very, very long time. Look, I could go on all night, and I know you're very busy, so we won't keep you too much longer. But it really is. And like, what future does the young person, the young Irish person, may it be male or female, like, do they go into teaching? Do they go into nursing? Every single thing they go into, they're being shut down by this government. And you know what? It is a disgrace, and it is a disgrace in the last government and nearly the one before that. They've never given a young person a chance in this country. They've found some way to come along and screw up their future. The M50 Politics is going to be the new slogan all over the newspapers, M50 Politics, because regardless of where Micheál Martin likes to say he's from, he's no Cork man, because if he was a Cork man, he'd be fighting for his county, and every square foot of it, he'd be fighting for it. Not in Cork, not just Carrigaline or wherever he's from, or where is he from actually? Some part of Carrigaline, yeah, North Cork, isn't it? Yeah, and it wouldn't be just there he'd be fighting, where he'd be fighting for every single inch from Whiddy Island all the way up to the borders. Do you know what I mean? And that's what he should be for, as a man that he likes to put himself with next to the legend that is Jack Lynch. Like, do you know, he has a bridge named after him in Cork City. I doubt this Taoiseach will have a sand castle built after him, or even named after him by the time he's done with it. Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem. The man has no guts, you know, and he needs to stand up and needs to be counted. Like the saying we had with the rugby there, Ireland needs to stand up and be counted. And I think it's about time now the government stood up and be counted. And we'll give everybody the benefit of doubt. Hopefully they do the best job. And hopefully in a year's time we can get back onto this and go, Christ, Michael, we were completely wrong about this government. They did fantastic work and we're all millionaires again. And the Celtic Tiger is back.
I'll be the first to be honest to say that, and I'm not here to go knocking. I looked at areas in the last 4 years. I pleaded with the Ministry for Rural Affairs. They've shafted that now on top of some other ministry is the social protection. That's finished. Rural Affairs is finished, and community. So that's where we come from. And there was a rural regeneration, but I know how many billion was put into that fund. And one project is in 2 years after all the announcements. The minister was from Mayo, and there was 6 point something million into Mayo, and there was so many other million into Mayo. One project in West Cork was the only thing that could fund it, and that we are rural, and we do need to have our communities regenerated, and we do have opportunities. And if there is an opportunity, if there's any chance of turning this around, we got to look at our tourism, because that's where our greatest growth is, because we have it down here, the VAT and tourism, but also our broadband. And our mobile phone coverage. And you saw the issue here tonight at 8 o'clock when I tried to start off first here with the broadband and collapsing up and down. And, you know, it's not good enough. And it's simply not good enough that they have not delivered. And we pushed at the beginning of this COVID for communities to get extra capacity. And the only way that could happen was through Comreg. And in fairness, they gave it, which was fabulous. I know bloody well where the extra capacity has gone. It certainly hasn't come into West Cork. It's above around Dublin. And the mobile phone companies, instead of Comreg saying to the mobile phone companies, whether they're Tree, Vodafone, or whatever companies, you'll get it. But we want to report on exactly where you delivered it. And if you haven't at least given 50 or 60% to rural communities, don't go out there telling us after you want it again, or we'll disconnect you. They have been, Comreg are meant to control broadband and mobile phone companies. They've literally railroaded and left them do whatever they like. And we're down in rural communities fighting for extra broadband, fighting for extra mobile phone coverage. Things that are very vital for a future. And we have a good future. And I'll tell you where there is a green shoot through this COVID. I met an auctioneer the other day that told me he sold more houses in West Cork than he ever sold in all his years. And I said they're between him and his father, they're in operation for over 100 years. They sold more houses in West Cork. And I'll tell you why. People from America, people from England, I was told Italy, Germany, just want to get the hell out of their country. They don't want to die there. They want to come to a beautiful part of the world, and we have that beautiful part of the world. And that's a good thing to end with this evening. We have a fabulous opportunity here. People from all over the world. I think 11 houses. One auctioneer sold them in 7 days in the last week. That's telling you we have something here, and we need to bottle it, and we need to sell it, and we can. And it just depends on the resources coming in from the state to give us that extra chance to do that.
And you know what? It could be done so easily. We could turn it around like that. If they just turn around and they give us the okay on the VAT, the okay on so many, and it doesn't have to be huge money invested or anything of the sort. It just has to be simple things, and they can be done from Dublin. They can turn around and say, look, we can go from here and we can do this and we can do that. And it can be so quickly, and they can turn around in the space of a week, and we can have a lovely country and loads of people in it. And that's all we want. We want everybody to come to Ireland, see how beautiful this country is of ours that we take so for granted. But look, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, sir, for doing this. We do have one little thing that I must do. We've got the flash questions, and we have to do it because I get every single.
They could be the dangerous ones. They could be the dangerous ones.
These are the rapid fire questions.
They could be the banana skins.
No. I wouldn't do that to you. Right, we got to do it. They only take you 30 seconds to do it, and I will let you go then. Okay. So, Michael Collins, like I said, the hardest working man in the Dáil. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much for doing this to me. But we've got 30 seconds to get through, and I promise I will leave you go there. Right, you have a choice: a phone call or a text message. Which do you pick?
Oh, text message.
What's your favorite movie?
Oh, James Bond. Anything with James Bond.
McDonald's or Burger King?
Oh, McDonald's.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
Oh, Jesus Christ, number 10.
The strangest place you've made a phone call?
Oh, in the Dáil.
A person you'd like to have dinner with, dead or alive?
Ooh, Lord God, that's a good one. My God, you're catching me out now. This one. There's so many of them. Michael Collins, General Michael Collins.
There we go. I had a feeling it was going to be that one. Do you keep your ketchup in the fridge or outside the fridge?
Oh, in the fridge, and yeah, and just tomato ketchup. The real stuff. Chef tomato ketchup.
Chef, that's my man. That's my man. The proper stuff. Would you like to live forever or have the power of invisibility?
Oh no, to live forever.
Would you eat soup or drink it?
Eat it.
And Michael Collins, what is the one thing in the world that annoys you the most?
Oh, people talking bull. Okay.
Michael Collins, it's been an absolute pleasure, sure. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yes,
Get back to work and we'll talk to you soon.
Good
Thank
night
you
to
so
you
much,
again.
sir. Thank you very much.